What is respect? That's really one that pisses me off a great deal. Because the problem I'm facing over and over again when I'm dealing with other people, mostly men, is that they are incredibly disrespectful. And I mean men of all kinds of ages. I mean men that are 60. I mean men, young boys that are 17, even 8 or 9. They can be 30 or 40. I can give you any number. Most men that I encounter are incredibly disrespectful. And so what does it mean to be disrespectful? So if you look down on other people, it's disrespectful. Because you always should look at people eye to eye. But the problem I have when I'm dealing with other people, that they lift themselves on some kind of pedestal where they feel like, here nobody can touch me. And then they walk around with some kind of strut, and then they say like, oh, I'm the best musician there is. Or, I don't know what. And I really have trouble sometimes to be respectful if my opposite is not respectful. At least I'm at the point now where, I can see how disrespectful that they are. I can even understand why they are disrespectful, because they're probably emotionally hurt. But I can also understand that if they're like this, I don't want to spend any time with them ever again. And so there's some examples, because, I'm out. I used to be out a lot. I would used to go a lot to the park and slackline and stuff. And one example of somebody who's disrespectful was this young kid. He's like 17 or something, and he started showing up, and his father never spent time with him because he had his own problems, right? Because he had his own problems. I mean, we are talking about, at least in Germany, but I think the whole world is kind of in a state of shock, where everybody had some kind of war going on, and some still have wars going on, at least from, what people are saying, I don't know. I never knew how it was to be, just after the war or in war. It's just stories that I hear. I have no idea how it is like. But I can imagine, because when I look at the people, especially fathers, and everybody who's kind of male, I can see that, they all seem kind of fucked. Everybody's incredibly insecure, and that makes life really annoying and complicated, because nobody's in flow, if you know what that means. Everybody's always trying to make sure that he's not stepping onto anybody's toes. And that makes everything really boring, because, everybody just sucks up to each other. Right? If somebody tries to be courageous, and then, somebody else comes and says, "Ah," and then he says, "Oh, I'm sorry." Right? It's like, what the heck? Just state your opinion and then stick with it. And so disrespectful was often, I tried to help this young kid. In a sense, right? Because I thought I can teach him something, right? And he comes to me because he wants to learn something. But you know what he actually was about? You know, they come to you because they want to teach you a lesson. Because they now are kind of, oh, you know, I can show it to him. And so they make appointments with you, and then they just don't show up. You know, I've had this a couple of times, and I think just in this recording, I'm actually getting to the bottom of this. Because I have been having this kind of behavior a lot from people who have father issues. You know, that's women that have father issues, that's men that have father issues. And I don't give a crap about your father issues because, you know, I had father issues and I worked them out. So I don't give a shit if you have father issues. You know, I really tried giving a shit. But I'm done with that. And, you know, sometimes, and that's actually the really crazy part now. You know, I remember there was a situation where I wanted to help somebody. And, you know, I was helping them getting stuff from an apartment. You know, he was 10 years older than me. And there was somebody else who was the same age as me. So like 31 and, you know, the older guy was 41. So there were two people who were 31 and one who was 41. And, you know, we both, the, you know, 31-year-olds, we were kind of working with him, but we were helping him, so we were like the extra muscle to go to a place that they were kind of taking apart so that they could put all the... It's really hard to talk if there's so much noise going on, by the way. But I just want to do it now. And when you want to listen to this, well, you just have to work through it, just as I'm working through it right now. All right. Just bear with me. Yeah, it's really difficult to continue now. It's really stressful. You know, and that's how you feel like when you're emotionally traumatized. It's basically impossible to be together with other people and feel at peace, unless you start working out that trauma and you start seeing it working on you while you're together with other people, right? So the last time, you know, I'm just gonna jump a bit. You know, the last time I went on a hike with that young kid, and that was like really recent. Because I saw him and I thought, oh, he looks so sad and maybe he needs a help. And so we went for a hike and he seemed to really enjoy that. And then we made an appointment and for 2 o'clock, 2 days later again, right? Because I said I'm going to go hiking anyway. All right, so let's meet again at 2 at the designated meeting place. And nobody came. And I knew I was in time. I didn't have my phone with me, and I also don't check my messages, because if I say 2 o'clock on that day, I'm there, right? If I say at 2 o'clock on that day, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna be there, right? I mean, sure, I wasn't like this in the past. You know, I sometimes was too late. But I actually don't quite remember. For school, I surely was often too late, but I also walked on foot, but that's just an excuse. You know, I like to push things a bit, you know, until I had no time left. Maybe that's how I started to live also. You know, I just waited until it was so bad that I had to do something. Anyway, and so he didn't show up, and I was standing there and I thought, fucking asshole. You know, he does it again, and that's like the 5th time that he stood me up. And you see, I don't care what your reason is. And I don't care if you send me a text. Because I don't have time to check all your little excuses why you can't make it. Because the point is that you're fucking around with me. You say you are going to be there and you're not. Have a good life. That's how I see it. We had an appointment, we had an agreement, and if we would be two men facing each other, then that should be enough to actually meet. And that's kind of interesting because, you really have to understand that you're living amongst liars. And it's really hard to understand what that even means, because everybody's lying about everything. Because everybody is incredibly afraid to make mistakes. They just say the things that they think make them look good. And that means you're telling a lie. If somebody asks you something and you say yes, but you actually wanted to say no, well, then you were dishonest. And then you're basically screwing yourself. You're trying to please other people. Right? It's like doing AI, art with AI. It's not art, it's just bullshit. But it's just, some people, they will just do that simply because they think that's what people want. And that's a really cheap way of trying to become famous or popular. You should stick to the way that you do things and really think about what you want to do. And to come back to the story with, that older guy, I couldn't just call him Harry, right? Let's say Harry, he was 41, and me and, let's just call him Jack, right? We were 31. And we were helping him to move stuff from a home that was, being taken apart. And we called the owners and they said, hey, you can come here and you can take whatever you want. And there was like some incredibly expensive stuff in there that we just could have for free. And so they had, the floor was made of this parquet, right? Really old wooden parquet. And so we were working on that. And the problem I sometimes have is that other men always try to control me. They try to push me around, they try to tell me what to do, but I know what to do. I'm not an idiot. But they often treat me like one. And that's incredibly disrespectful, and they do so because they are incredibly insecure, and actually they have all these father issues. And so I was working on the parquet, and I was doing something, and then he came, no, don't do it like this, and he pushed me aside, but I was just taking it out, right? I was just taking it out. And so I said, you know what, fuck off, and I just left. And then both of them said later to me, oh yeah, you're just projecting your father issues on me. I'm not your father. Well, I fucking know that. But do you know that I'm not your father? That's me having to say that to a 41-year-old guy who never respected me for who I was. And I try, every time I meet people, I really try to respect them. I say, let's meet, we show up, I don't know. Maybe I'm overwhelming, maybe I'm out of place, I don't really know. Maybe I'm disrespectful because I think I can help them. Right? Maybe that's already where it starts. Because I'm actually disrespectful because I think I need to help them, while they actually should help themselves. And the more I was walking around, that now we're actually getting to the basis of the dilemma of why I think I need to be angry. But that's also the problem, it's not just that I want to help people, it's also that people kind of want me to help them. It's really weird, but they want me to help them in the way that they want to help themselves. And that makes no sense at all. Because, they're just too lazy or too scared to do it themselves. So they think, oh, that guy, he looks kind of passionate, right? He looks kind of strong and stern. He could help me. And then you go there and you want to help them in your own way. And then they say, no, that's not how you should do it. You should do it my way. What the fuck does that mean? You should do it my way. You want my help. but I'm supposed to do it the way you want to do it. Well, then you have to hire someone because, I'm helping for free. And I'm doing it the way I want to do it. That's just the way it works with me, specifically. If you want to work with me, you have to realize that there are certain things that I will do and there are certain things that I will absolutely never do. And here I can actually use the word never. And do you know why that is? Because I have respect for myself. Okay, maybe in terms of watching porn, you can scratch that because I feel like it's very disrespectful to myself. And to the women also that I'm watching. But on the other hand, they're putting themselves out there. So is it disrespectful? It's a really hard thing to come around. The thing is, I would never go to a prostitute. You could say that's disrespectful, that I'm not doing it because it's disrespectful. But on the other hand, you could also say that it's actually disrespectful if I don't go to a prostitute. Because, then she cannot earn money. So who am I to judge what's good for her or what's not? But if I would want to go, I should just go without feeling bad about it, right? Then I should just go there. Only because I feel like I have respect. Respect is such an empty word. You disrespected me. It's just something to get angry about, and I never realized that. I feel like I just dissolved the word respect and all the bullshit. People are getting killed over respect. You don't give me respect. Yeah, well, you don't respect yourself. If you need my respect, what does respect mean? It basically means you want people to suck up to you. But what I actually want is, now it comes. Maybe I want security. Maybe I want to make an appointment with somebody. And that person is true. But then we're coming to the problem. I make an appointment with somebody and he doesn't show up. Well, isn't that honest? That's the most honest thing I can get out of him. But because we are so concerned with making schedules and, timing everything perfectly, that everything's like neat, that our whole life is exactly as planned. We have a whole lot of problems, like a whole set of problems, just because we are giant control freaks. And then somebody doesn't show up, and then I get incredibly angry at a 17-year-old boy who also has a family life. He's disrespecting me. Why? It actually doesn't matter because I went for a walk anyway, but I felt a bit angry. And then I also felt like I had to say something about that to him. I have to say, from now on, I'm not going to walk with you anymore. But I also think it's actually a good thing I did that. Because you also have to learn from these things, and it's incredibly hard. I don't really know, because respect for me is also a form of drawing boundaries. That's for me what respect is, amongst others. It's a way to draw boundaries. And so respect, right? I don't really want to go into the word, what it means. I don't really care about that right now. Maybe that's disrespectful for the word, right? It's like really insecure people that feel like you can disrespect them, or that some other person owes you respect. And that's usually because they are on this kind of pedestal that they created for themselves, where they think they're like the greatest of all, and you owe me respect. I don't owe you shit, man. I don't owe you shit. Especially, right, if you say it like this, that's all you can get from me. And that's what respect is to me. It's an understanding between beings. You have to respect me. Because if you come to my home and you check out my wife and you look at her butt, you could say, yeah, that's just materialism. Yeah, let it slide. No, that person would leave the house. And they probably wouldn't understand why. If they do it, once in a while, but if they really hit on her and all that kind of stuff, I would just chuck them out. And then you can ask, well, isn't that a bit harsh? I don't know, right? That's the other thing, it's like you have to figure it out for yourself. What do you think is okay? How can people behave towards you? Because to me, it's emotionally really annoying, not just emotionally, but also, I don't really meet a lot of people. And so if I make an appointment with somebody, I expect that person to also be there. Because, I'm older and I have something to teach. And if that person wants to learn from me, that person has to show up. If that person doesn't show up, then I just have to say, live your own life, man. I tried to give you a hand multiple times already. Each time you're either sick or it's your family or it's whatever. I don't give a crap. I don't respond to phone calls most of the time. I don't read my messages regularly. And that means you're just a real idiot. You're a real stupid person. Because you act like you want to go with me, and then he even thinks, he can say that, oh, but I have time on Friday. Oh yeah, good for you. I'm busy. Cheers. Because I don't need people that play hide and seek all the time. I don't need people in my life that do this kind of push and shove and push and shove and push and shove. I've had this for a long time. I was doing the pushing and the shoving and all that kind of stuff. And it never ends. So I just keep people out. And I just stay alone. And that's also why I like doing my own music, my own art. I don't want to work together with people. I really don't want to do it because, I don't need all these stupid discussions about what instruments to use and how to sing or which words. I just want to do it myself. That's what I really like. And then you can say, sure, I really have problems working together with other people because I have my own way of doing things. I have my own style. And that's how I respect myself, by keeping people that try to destroy my happy kind of sanctuary, which is my creative space. People who try to destroy that, they just won't hear from me again. There are very few people that I still call from time to time or that I reach out to. But I also try to make sure that, it stays that way. And most people, if you don't call them, they will never call you. That's with most people like this. And then you have these kind of people who just constantly, want a piece of you for whatever reason. And these people I really push out and I block them. And I make sure that they will stay away because I've tried telling them to stay away and they still came back. Even after calling them assholes and stuff, and that's what I really hate about sending messages, because it's such a sneaky way to do it. You don't show up, Then don't even bother saying sorry for that, because you didn't show up because you had other stuff to do. So sending me a message is just like, it's like the cherry on the ice cream of cowardice. So if you don't have the balls to show yourself, then fucking stay away, please. But then also stay away, and that's where I have a really hard time. Because I have the feeling I really want to help people. And as soon as I see somebody that feels a bit like vulnerable, I really want to help them. And then I try that, and then I realize at one point, it isn't working. Because I also have to help myself. And I cannot split myself and run to everybody who thinks he needs help. What he really needs is a bit more trust and a stronger resolve to solve his problem. And so yeah, I've gotten better at this. But sometimes I'm a bit shocked at how stern I can actually be. Like how strong my will has become in some ways, while in others it's still quite weak. But if it comes to other people and trying to get me to work for them, you know, it's really hard. I mean, because I'm not, that's the problem. I'm not really an asshole. But what makes me angry is people are stealing my time because they are too lazy to figure out their own shit.